In today's video, I'm going to show you the difference between hard and soft edges, why you might want to use one over the other in some of your paintings or combine both of them, and then I'm going to show you some examples of my paintings doing just that. Subscribe and hit the notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my videos, and let's just get right into it. So I've got my Etcher sketchbook here, and I'm going to demonstrate hard edges versus soft edges first, just so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the first thing I'm going to demonstrate is hard edges. So I'm just going to grab some of this purple on my palette. Now this is the Winsor Violet. And I'm just going to get this on my paper. And right away you can see I'm doing this wet on dry. So I've got wet paint, dry paper. And it's giving me all of these edges, which are nice and crisp. This would be considered hard edges. Now to get something with soft edges, I might go ahead and wet the paper first. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to wet a little section of this paper. So now we're going to be working more wet on wet. And again, I'm going to grab a little bit of that purple paint and I'm just going to get this in here. And I can cover this area, and it is going to spread out a little bit, but as this dries, we aren't going to have the same harsh edges that we see here. So you can see everything's just spreading out a little bit. It's softening out. There are some defined areas where we see paint and nothing, but it's definitely a lot less harsh than this. Now we can also achieve something that's in between these two, where we have hard edges and soft edges in the same stroke almost. So again, I'm going to take some of this purple paint and I'm going to start getting this down. And we're doing this wet on dry. Then I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush immediately, and I'm going to come in with just water on my brush now and soften this edge. So you can see as I'm pulling this out, this edge is getting softer and it's fading out while this edge stays nice and sharp. Now, why would I choose to use one over the other? And that depends what I'm going for in my paintings. So to explain this, it's probably better that I pull out some examples so I have something to show you. So here's two examples of floral paintings, but one should be really popping off the paper while the other one is just a little bit more subtle. And this one should be the subtle one, and this one should be popping off and looking a little bit more realistic. And the reason is this has a lot more hard edges and this has a lot more soft edges. So soft edges are going to push things further back into the background or into the distance or look a little bit softer. And that was the look I was going for with these flowers. So all of these petals, even the leaves here, have all been done wet on wet. So even though we do have some hard edges here, everything is really soft and subtle, and it kind of pushes everything back a little bit, whereas this one, we have a lot more hard edges here. Now, yes, some of this blending in the stem here and a little bit of the areas back here were soft edges, but having a lot of these hard edges here is going to make it stand out more. And this was sort of my focal point area. So you can see my hard edges are staying in this area, and then the areas surrounding that spot are more soft. So I'm using some hard edges to make something stand out, and then I'm using soft edges to kind of push it back a little bit. Now the same thing goes for this painting. So a lot of the sticks or branches that were in the background, I did wet on wet, and that just helps them soften out and push more into the background. And then you can see this foreground branch, which was done wet on dry, stands out a whole lot more. And same with even the snowflakes. I've done some of the snowflakes I added while the paper was wet, and then these very harsh white ones here, I did it while the paper was dry. So I like to use this technique a lot when I want to just have one little focal area. So again, like that flower, this little spot here is my focal area. So everything kind of fades out a little bit more and you're drawn to this area. And here's just a couple more examples. So for the background here in the frog, I made this edge of the leaf sort of blend in with the background a little bit. Now you can obviously tell that this is where the leaf's edge ends, and this is the background, but I left this very soft so that it doesn't really draw your attention here. I want my attention to be here. So you can see all of these shadows are hard edges. And then even here on the leaf where we do have some transition areas where it goes from light to dark, these are still very soft and very subtle. So your attention shouldn't really be drawn to these areas here, but more where the frog is. And same with this flower over here. I wanted the attention to be on the petals. So even the stem, I kind of blended out into the background so that the focal point is really just on these petals here, and you can see a lot of these sharp edges around the petals. Even though this is all soft and blended, you can really tell each petal stands out on its own. So those are some of the reasons why I like to use a soft edge versus a hard edge. I hope this video was useful for you. If it was, then be sure to subscribe and hit the like button because that really does help my channel out. And check out this other watercolor video here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.